So Joe, in our expert interviews that we have on Tuesdays for this show, I usually take the lead as like the primary interviewer, and then we have our guest. And I'm going to take that same approach for today, and I'm going to pretend like you're the guest on the show because you are between the two of us. This is your cup of tea that we're going to dive into, and that is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We have talked about it with our community. We've talked about it in different events that we've had, and I think we've alluded to it on the show. But we use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, as a big lead gen tool for us, especially for getting people to our events. And you are the one that is kind of behind the scenes. So can you walk our listeners through what LinkedIn Sales Navigator is, how we use it, and why it might be beneficial for them?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you've used LinkedIn, then you know that in regular LinkedIn, you can kind of find people by doing these searches, and you can search on companies and people and that kind of thing. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is basically that on steroids, right? It gives you a lot more ways of kind of filtering down, finding people, saving them on lists, and being able to follow up with them and getting notified when things happen with them. So it's an incredibly powerful tool for finding people that are in need of your product or service. A lot of solopreneurs say, "Ooh, it's kind of expensive." If it's monthly, you're paying $100 a month. If you commit annually, I think it's like $80 a month for the basic version, which is all you probably need. And I just want to argue that that's peanuts compared to what you can get out of this. I mean, obviously depending on your business, but if you need either businesses or certain kinds of people that can be identified, it's definitely worth it. So we're obviously looking for solopreneurs, and it is astonishingly good at identifying solopreneurs. And you can identify people in industries, by companies they work for. And there's just so many ways that you can kind of create these filters and get these lists of people and then interact with them. So, it's good to maybe test it out, invest $100 to try it for a month and see if it works for you and finds the people you're looking for. That's kind of the beginnings of it. What else would you like to know?
No, I just think it's helpful I feel like we should give like a case study of how exactly we use it so that they
Okay.
can kind of see the
Yeah.
ins and outs. Cause I mean, it just has done wonders for our lead gen.
So you need something, an offer, and okay, I want everybody to grab a pen and write this down. The offer is not you selling your product or service. Don't do that.
And so
Don't
many
do
people
that.
do.
Don't do that. Okay, that's not how you start off a relationship. Hi, nice to meet you. Will you marry me? No,
No.
no, no, no. So, but what you want to do is you want to offer something that they will find valuable. You want to be helpful. And you want to be helpful without any expectations, because maybe number one, they don't need what you're doing. Maybe number two, they already have a solution. But you want to basically build a relationship. And there's a couple of ways to do this. Now, I can't speak to there's two ways to do it, and I can only speak to one of them because that's all I've ever used. But the other way, the way I don't do it, is using InMail. So you get this certain number of ability to contact people you're not connected with and sending them a message inside of LinkedIn, an InMail, they call it. So that's one way to do it, and that's the way a lot of people use Sales Navigator. I do something different because I am, trying to build up a network of solopreneurs, and I use Sales Navigator and then send them a connection request. And once I do that, I think the numbers are coming in, about 40% of the solopreneurs, it may be a little higher, accept that connection request. And then I'm free to communicate with them in unlimited fashion using the InMails because we're connected. It also builds out my network. I have more people seeing my stuff when I post. And I just want to be connected to solopreneurs. That's what I'm doing. And it's really valuable, and I try to add value for them. But when I send the connection request, I'm inviting them to something that is, I believe, valuable for them or potentially valuable for them and free, which is to basically join one of our online virtual solopreneur events. So we have 2 a month, and whatever one's upcoming, I invite them to. If they have questions, I answer the questions. A lot of those people that then can accept their connection request. Basically, I start with a kind of a little short pitch because it's a connection request. It can't be long. I have a community of solopreneurs. We do this events every month. I think you'd be a great fit. something like that, maybe something about their business. And then if they accept the request, I get notified and then I can invite them with the details to the event. And a lot of the people accept and show up. It doesn't have to be an event. It could be something else. I'm a fan of things that would, what you talk about lead magnets. It's nice to have an investment from the participants. So it's not just download my white paper, but maybe you have a really valuable white paper or a really valuable checklist or something really valuable to what they do that they'll download and read, anything like that. But give them something to create that relationship, to start that trust that you're somebody that, number one, knows what you're doing, and number two, isn't just there to try to pitch them. And if you can get them engaged, then eventually as you interact, you can start to maybe throw a little bit in about what you do and depending on your business and how you do it, create that relationship and maybe gain yourself customers. But that's the general way that we do it. Anything that you think needs clarification on that, Carly?
No, I just sometimes think it's helpful to get a little bit like to peel back the curtain for these things because people can talk about it, but until they hear like how it's actually used, it's not always beneficial. So I think this is really helpful. And before we end this episode, I have to say we are not affiliates of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We just genuinely really like this product, so we thought we'd share how we use it with you. But listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We so appreciate it. As always, leave that 5-star review, share this episode with a friend, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And we will see you next time on The Aspiring Solopreneur.